Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in today to First Friday with Robert Black. Sorry we had a little bit of a late start, little technical trouble, but we're off and running now. For those of you that might be a first-time tuner in on First Fridays, I'd like to offer you a really big, hearty welcome. For those of you that are return viewers, welcome back. It's great to have everybody here and be able to play for you. And for those of you that are ticket holders, a double thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your support with your credit card. Okay, solo double bass concerts. You know, the curse about playing solo double bass concerts is there is no great repertoire from the great composers of the Western classical tradition. We don't have any Bach suites. We don't have any Beethoven bass sonatas. There's nothing from Mozart. There's nothing from Brahms. There's nothing from Berlioz or Tchaikovsky. The list goes on. However, the blessing of playing a solo unaccompanied bass concert is that there is no great repertoire from the great composers of the Western classical tradition. So us bass players are freed from having to deal with this, heavy weight of that canon, and we're able to come up with stuff to do. We have to think up extra things to do. And bass players are very good at coming up with really great things for other bass players to do, and have written a lot of music for us to play. As you know, the last several decades, composers have really stepped up and written a huge amount of fantastic music for the instrument. But still, a large part of the cool stuff that us bass players get to play is written by other bass players. And that is what today's concert is all about, music written by bass players. So the first piece was written by one of the giants of the bass world, François Rabbath, his Indian raga influenced piece called the Poucha. I think it was probably written somewhere in the 80s, but I'm not sure about that. But what I am sure is it's one of his most popular pieces with bass players and also with audiences. The next piece we're going to hear today is by Rodrigo, a piece called In Memorium. This work was commissioned by the bass player David Hayes, and it was written in memory of another bass player, the late Tony Osborne. And in 2020, In Memoriam, it won the solo double bass category of the composition competition that is sponsored every other year by the International Society of Bassists. So, there are bass fingerprints all over this piece. So I'd like to play that now for you. Rodrigo, In Memoriam. Thank you. Beautiful In Memorium by Rodrigo Mata. Over the last 30 years or so, I've had the real pleasure of traveling to Brazil every July to perform and teach at the Festival Eleazar Carvalho in Fortaleza, Brazil. And over the course of these 30 years, I feel like I've developed a pretty close connection to the Brazilian bass community. And it's like bass communities everywhere. It's an amazing bunch of people. But one of the real thrills was to be able to meet Sonia Ray, a great bass player, composer, lovely spirit of the scene down there. So it's really a pleasure for me to get to play her small miniature piece here, Ondas, for you next. Ondas translates from Portuguese into waves. Thank you. Ondas by Sonia Ray. My studio here is in Hartford, Connecticut, and it is early June, and it is a summer, feels like a summer day today. It's kind of hot, and it's super, super humid. So my studio, with the lights and everything, is kind of boiling right now. So a little sweaty, sorry. Great. Emil Tabakov. Let me just take care of one thing first. Emil Tabakov studied double bass at the conservatory in Bulgaria, along with composition and conducting. But I think it's safe to say that the bulk of his career was conducting and composition activities. However, there is the soul of a bass player there, especially when you look at his catalog of works, because not only is there a double bass concerto, but he also wrote a sonata for bass and viola, a sonata for bass and piano, 2 pieces for 12 bass players. I'd like to get my hands on that music, and this very intense solo bass piece, Motivy. Motivy by Emil Tabakov. Okay, I have one more work for you today, written by a young, immensely talented bass player, Xavier Foley. He's based in New York. He has already won an impressive number of competitions. He's a very highly sought after soloist. He's a very committed and dedicated teacher. In addition to all of that, he's written a terrific amount of bass music for bass players. So it's a real pleasure to end today's program with Xavier Foley's Letting Go. Thank you. That's the show for today. Thank you very much for being here. Thanks to all the beautiful music from all the lovely bass composers we have out there. Come back next month, July 2nd, for another First Fridays with Robert Black. Until then, have a great month. See you July 2nd. Bye-bye.